Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to see another tutorial on Docker Swarm. If you have went through my previous tutorials, we have seen how to set up Docker Swarm, how to deploy multi-door, multi-service application using Docker Stack as well. So in this tutorial, we are going to see how to run an application in Docker Swarm and what are the benefits of Docker Swarm in a real production environment. So when we say about the benefits, we are going to see about the auto load balancing feature of Docker Swarm, how you can scale your application, how you can achieve a zero downtime and easy maintenance of your servers. So let's get started. If you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe, like the video, share and comment. Okay, so to start, I have a 3 CentOS machine. So I'll be showing you how we can easily set up a Docker Swarm in a few minutes first. So if you run the docker info command, you will be able to see that Docker Swarm is inactive. So if you don't know how to set up Docker, please check my tutorial on the video description or in my channel to see how to set up Docker on CentOS. So the first step is you have to run Docker Swarm init. So you'll initialize or enable the Docker Swarm on the server. So it will give you the command how to add other machines as a worker node. So you have to copy that command like docker swarm join and with the docker number, and you have to run that on the node machine. So here we are getting an error because the port number is not open. So you are getting a message that unable to connect to the host. So let's add the port number into the firewall exception. So let's run this command. So in this machine, it's already available, but we have to run this on all the ports. Okay, so let's reload the firewall. And let's run the join command again. Okay, now you can see this node is joined as a worker node. So if you run the command docker node ls on the leader machine, you can see there are 2 nodes listed now. So one is the leader, another one is the worker. Okay, now let's do the same command on one more node. So let's copy the command to join the other node to the manager. So you can see this one is also joined as a worker node. And if you run the docker node ls, now we have a 3 node Docker Swarm. So one is acting as a manager and other 2 are acting as a worker. Now if you run the command docker service ls, we don't see anything because there are no service running. So before we start creating new service, I also want to use an application called Visualizer. So if you go to this GitHub location, you will be able to see the complete instruction. So we are trying to create a container for Visualizer. So you're running a docker run command in IT and in detach mode with the port 8080. So let's wait for the Visualizer container to be running. So we'll be using this visualizer, which will be giving us a graphical interface where we can see the nodes and also what are the services running in the nodes. So you can also use other tools like Portainer, but this is much easier way we can monitor the swarm, at least for this testing purpose. Okay, so we have the container created. So you can see with docker ps command the running container for visualizer. Okay, you can access the visualizer using the host IP address and the port 8080. So this is my host IP address. Okay, let me browse for the host IP with port 8080. Okay, great. So we can see this visualizer where it's mentioned like node 1, node 2, and node 3. Okay. So now we don't see anything in each node because we don't have any services available. So now let's try to create a new service. So using the command docker service create and name it as a Nginx web. And we are going to map it to the port 8001 from the host and 80 in the container. And the image is Nginx. So you can create your own service as well. So this is, I'm just want to show it for testing. So you can see one service is created, and if you run the command docker service ls, it's mentioned like one service is running and the replica is one. And if you go to the visualizer now, we can see one service for Nginx web is running on the node 2, which is a worker node. And you can access the Nginx on the web browser now using the port 8081. You can see we are able to get the message like welcome to Nginx. Okay, now let's create a new service. Let's name it as Nginx new web and give a replica number. So previously we did not given any argument for replicas. So it has taken a default replica of number 1. So now we are going to use replicas and we are going to give number 4. So it means we should create 4 replicas. Okay, we have used the same port number 8081, so we have to change that into a different port because there is a conflict in the port. Let's wait for the service to be created. So you can see 1 out of 4 task is completed, 3 out of 4 tasks, and now we can see all 4 replicas are created. Now if you go to docker service ls, you can see one more service running, which is called Nginx web, and the replicas are 4. So that means we have 4 containers running for this service. And if you go to this visualizer, now you can see 2 different kind of containers or services. So one is for Nginx web and one is for Nginx new web. So but the new web is running in different nodes. If you run the command docker ps nginx web, you can see the nodes on which each container is running, like node 1, node 2, node 3. So you can see by default docker has load balanced the containers on different nodes. Okay, let me clear out this screen and let's create a new service using the docker service create command, and this time name it as Alpine. And we are going to give replicas 5. So we'll have 5 containers running, and we are going to use Alpine image, and we are going to ping a website, google.com. So this will create a new service with the name Alpine and 5 replicas. Okay, let's wait. We can see 3 out of 5 tasks are completed. Okay, great. So we are almost done. It's just verifying the service. Okay, so let's run the command docker service ls. So we can see one more service which is created as Alpine, which have file replica. And if you go to the visualizer, now you can see there are more containers running, and these containers are balanced in each node, like node 1, node 2, and node 3. So it's not specifically assigned to single node. So this is one of the key benefit of Docker Swarm. So it does the automatic auto load balancing. So when you create a service with multiple replicas, and if you have multiple nodes, it keeps distributing the load on different nodes. So the benefit of this, like if one of the node is down, also you have other containers running on other nodes. So you can see, the node 1, node 2, node 3, and each containers are distributed on different nodes. Now let's see another key feature of Docker Swarm. So let's use the command docker service scale, and we are going to call Nginx web, and we are going to give a number to scale the service. So if you see, we had previously Nginx web had only 4 replicas. Now we have 6 replicas. So if you go to the visualizer, you may be able to see more containers running for Nginx web. And again, this is distributed between different nodes. So what the message it says is, using docker scale command, you can easily scale a service. So let's try to use docker service scale again, and we are going to use Nginx web service. So previously it was having 1 replica, now we given as 2. So if you run the command, now you can see it has completed the process, and if you go to service ls, you can see the replicas are changed to 2. So it's that easy to scale your service. So this is the key benefit of Docker Swarm. So if you want to increase, the containers, or to scale your application to take more load, you can just use the command docker scale, so you'll have more containers running on the service. Now we can use the scale to even scale down, because what we have seen previously, it is scaling up because we are increasing the containers or replicas. So now if you see the Alpine image, we have given as scale 2, so it's trying to scale down from 5 to 2. So it reduces the number of containers running on the service. So you can see we see only 2 Alpine containers. Now let's try to do the same for Nginx new web. So let me scale down to 1 replica. So we have currently 6 replicas. Now you can see it's scaled down to only 1 replica. So what does that mean? So we have only one container running for that service. If you go to visualizer, you can see we have only 1 container for Nginx web. Okay, then let me try to scale up the Alpine service once again, so we can see, it's easily run the command docker service scale alpine with the 5. So if you go to the visualizer, you can see the alpine service is having 5 containers and running on different nodes. So this was one of the key feature of Docker Swarm. You can easily scale up and down. Okay, now let's see one more new feature. So if you use node Docker node ls, we have 3 nodes now, right? Node 1, node 2, and node 3. So node 3 is a worker node. So there are a few containers running. So let's use the command docker node update. So we are going to update the docker node and the availability. So if you see, all the nodes shows the availability as active now. So let's give the command availability drain. So we are updating the node 3 availability into drain. So you can run the command docker node ls. You can see the availability for node 3 has been changed to drain. So what it has done is it has drained the connection to the worker node 3. So now if you check the node 3, we don't have any containers running on node 3. However, if you see, all the containers which were running on node 3 is migrated to node 1 and 2. So what the benefit of doing this is, like, you can easily take out one of the node using this command. So if you want to do some maintenance on node 3, you just drain the node, so that we can update the server, or you can make the changes. But Docker Swarm automatically load balance the containers running on that node to the other worker node or the manager node. So if you bring the node 3 active again using the command docker update availability active, you should be able to see the containers running again on the worker node 3. So let's try to scale one of the Nginx web service, and let's see how it works. So if you have more containers running, it's easy to see how the worker or manager is moving the service from one nodes to other nodes. Now if you see the worker node 3, we have a new container running because we have made it active. Now let's make the node 1, which is a leader or the manager node, and as in the drain status. So let's run the command docker node update availability drain for node 1. So this is one of the key way to do it, because we don't want the manager to take the containers running on it. The manager will be acting only for managing the nodes. So if you want to do a setup in production, this would be the recommended way. You keep the manager only for managing the nodes. So you drain the manager, so no containers will be running on the manager. So here, if you scale any service, we are going to use Nginx web into 6 replicas. So we have completed the process, and if you see, we have 6 replicas for Nginx web. If you see, but there are no containers running on node 1. There was one which is already shut down because that is moved to a different node. So this is the best way to do it, and Docker Swarm gives this facility to easy managing or maintenance of your nodes. You can achieve zero downtime, high availability, and you can also have easy scaling of application. Okay, to summarize this tutorial, we have seen how Docker Swarm is automatically doing the load balancing of the containers as part of a service, and we have also seen how we can scale up and down the service using Docker scale command, and we also how to drain the manager or worker node so there will not be any containers running and you can easily do the maintenance of the nodes. So I hope this tutorial is informative for you. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe, like the video, share and comment.